See, sitting on your shoulders is the most complex object in the known universe. If we were to build a computer that can model your brain, that computer would be the size of a city block. It would consume the energy of a nuclear power plant, and it would require a river to cool it down. And yet your brain only operates on 20 watts of power. 20 watts. So when someone calls you a dim bulb, that's a compliment. And your brain works on one hamburger. I mean, amazing what the brain can do.
What a brilliant analysis of the human brain by one of my favorite scientists to listen to, Michio Kaku. In this video, we're going to examine whether the most complex object in the known universe, as Michio called it, the human brain, just happened by chance, as our atheist friends contend, or was it by the purposeful design of an intelligent mind? We're going to share arguments and counter arguments for why our brain is much more likely the product of a supernatural designer. Now, hi, my name is Todd, and welcome to Mission Millennial Z Alpha Generations, where we share the other side of the creation story with today's youth. Now, the first argument that I'm going to use for an intelligent designer, supernatural intelligent designer, is the a fortiori argument for an intelligent designer. Now, that sounds technical and complicated, but it really isn't. A fortiori simply means, quote, for a still stronger reason or even more certain argument. Now, to illustrate a fortiori, simply, if I can't bench press 100 pounds, it's even more logically certain, a fortiori, that I cannot bench press 500 pounds. All right, so let's get into my first argument. The human brain is the most complex structure in the universe, possessing more information processing units than all the computers, routers, and internet connections on Earth. Now, think about that for a second before you get to the conclusion here. More information processing units than all the computers, routers, and internet connections on Earth. Conclusion: if modern computers require a designer, how much more certain, a fortiori, did the origin of the human brain require one? Note, the naturalist, causally bankrupt trinity of time, chance, and evolution can't even produce the individual parts of a laptop or brain, let alone the complete structures themselves. Now, my atheist friends might object and say, yes, but given it enough time, the first self-replicating cell that accidentally formed in Darwin's warm little pond 3.8 billion years ago could evolve step by step into something very complicated like the brain. But here's the problem with that. That so-called simple first self-replicating cell is more complex than Elon Musk's rocket ships. And atheist biologists today have no idea how that first life arose because they have limited themselves to naturalistic explanations, and naturalism has proven to be a dead end street. And by the way, don't buy the falsehood that scientists have created life in the lab. They haven't come close. That is purposeful propaganda of the media, like their once a year presentation, usually around Easter, that they found the bones of Jesus, or other things which supposedly discredits the existence of God or the reality of Christ. Now, this leads to the question, if all powerful evolution can produce the far more complex human mind without intelligent, purposeful design, why can't it produce a rudimentary computer without purposeful input of a mind? Forget about the city blocks of supercomputers that Kaku referred to that is necessary to mimic the human brain. How about a rudimentary computer like the old Mac 512K desktop? Remember that dinosaur? That revolutionary dinosaur that caused me and many others to throw away our old typewriter? And how about a 1970s handheld calculator? Could it produce that without intelligent design? Deep down, the average person knows that the universe without intelligent design will never produce a laptop or a handheld calculator, pure and simple. Even given the hero of the plot, the atheistic hero of the plot, trillions of years of time, even given that, it couldn't do it. Yet many think it produced something infinitely more complex without the insistence of intelligent design. Now, regarding the idea of Darwin's warm little pond teaming up with a fortuitous meteor or lightning strike, creating the first self replicating cell that eventually pulled off creating the city block of supercomputers that is housed in our brain. The following argument puts that to rest, and it's called the DNA information origin of life argument for God's existence. Premise one: DNA contains the digital computer like information code required to build the first living cells. As Stephen Meyer stated, quote, molecular biology has revealed in the presence of living cells an exquisite world of informational nanotechnology of digital code in DNA and RNA, tiny, intricately constructed molecular machines, a complex digital processing system which vastly exceeds our most advanced digital high technology. Stephen Meyer's video, What's Wrong with Atheism? Bill Gates stated, DNA is like a computer program, but far, far more advanced than any software ever created. Premise two, according to our repeated and uniform experience, complex specified information always traces back to a mind. No mind, no specified information. 3, no materialistic minds existed at the conception of the very first life. Even atheists who believe aliens seeded the first life don't deny this premise. Conclusion: the evidence points to a supernatural mind being responsible for life's origin while simultaneously pointing away from the atheist assertion that the first life self-created by a mindless, undirected process. Atheist objection. Of course, evolution, time, and chance cannot create a laptop without the assistance of intelligent design, but it did create laptops by creating the intelligent designers that were capable of pulling it off. Answer. First, this ignores the a fortiori argument I just made. Second, it is a flagrant begging of the question, assuming the very thing you need to prove. Natural processes, the naturalist trinity as I call it, of time, chance, and evolution cannot create life. Naturalism is the only game in town for the atheist, and an honest assessment of naturalism's inability to create the parts of a computer, let's say, demonstrates life could not spontaneously create itself. The fact that the origin of life researchers, and this is an important point here, the fact that the origin of life researchers have spent countless millions of brain hours infusing intelligent design into their experiments betrays their belief that chance and time alone could have pulled it off. They are tacitly admitting by their admirable hands-on effort that a chance, hands-off approach won't work in creating life. Remember this, if you remember nothing else, chance has no causal powers. Chance can't build the house. Time has no causal powers. Evolution has no creative causal powers. It can only modify existing life via natural selection, working on random mutations to affect small changes within species of living things. Evolution is never observed changing one species into another. Never. But it is observed modifying bird beaks and other variances within species. And it certainly cannot perform the greater task of bringing life out of non-living materials. Natural selection working on random mutations can only modify existing living organisms. It explains the arrival of the fittest, not the origin of the fittest. There is simply no answer to this. But if you think you have one, let's hear it. Now, I'll leave you with these final questions, or a final question. Please answer yes or no in the comments. Yes or no question. Without the hands-on assistance of intelligent design, could the atheistic trinity of evolution and trillions of years of time ever produce a single handheld calculator, even a rudimentary one? Yes or no? If no, how did it create the infinitely greater technological marvel of the human brain? Remember, if it can't lift 100 pounds, it can't lift 500. In this case, for the analogy to be true, if it can't lift 100 pounds, it can't lift 100 trillion, because that's the disparity between the two. Now, you'll say, well, science is working on it. Yes, I know, and it's been working on it for 200 years. And the more they learn about the cell, the further away the goalposts have moved in showing and happen naturalistically. Naturalism of the gaps, that it is being cocksure, the cocksure assurances that science will eventually deliver the goods, is just as erroneous as God of the gaps. To put the above question in simpler form, do you really think nature can do by accident what our most brilliant PhD scientists can't do on purpose? Yes or no? If yes, please explain. Now, our best and brightest scientists cannot produce a living cell or a supercomputer as sophisticated as our brain. They are not even close, and they've been trying for many decades. And if they eventually did it on purpose, let's say they eventually did, that would only go to show that it takes intelligent design to engineer complex systems, to bring complex systems into existence. Now, in closing, look, I am just a layman like most of you listening. If you really want to look into this, I highly recommend listening to James Tour. He's a chemist and foremost authority on how origin of life researchers are doing in their quest to create life in the lab. If you have time to listen to no one else, go to his YouTube channel, which I'll leave in the description, and watch it, study it. If you do nothing else, if you want to hear the best arguments the other side has on this, I would recommend him highly. Now, thank you for listening to this long video. I know I repeated some of the points over and over for emphasis, but hopefully you got the point. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.